Hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head. Get you out of my head again.
Please note,
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. Run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin and the I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. Tell me the storm is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Know that I need you anyway.
I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat of down, I press the lens just to tell you. Don't lead the way, don't leave a stay. Then I drown with a transparent parade. I feel like I'm fading. We don't need no sleep because the party don't stop. So put your hands on me and turn me on, turn me up. We don't need no sleep because the party don't stop. So put your hands on me and turn me on, turn me up.
And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night. You know what that means? It's party time with the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and that man beside me, he's the man with the angelic voice. He's Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, how you doing, brother?
Whew, I'm doing great, Munson. You put a lot of mustard on that intro there. I appreciate that a lot.
Oh yeah, you bet. I've just got over a big cold here, so my voice is back. I'm ready to bring the heat here tonight, Pop Smokes. So we're gonna have a hell of a lot of fun. Unfortunately, at this very time, at this very moment, I'm in two places at the same time because earlier this week, Papa Smokes, I actually pre-recorded a episode of Pro Wrestling Weekly with the Stove and Nick, our boy NJ, over at CFCR Radio 90.5 here in Saskatoon. That is currently airing live on their station, but it will be available for a replay. I will make sure that goes out to the masses so you can check out my interview / podcast that I did with the boys down at CFCR. It was a blast. I absolutely loved it, Pop Smokes.
Very cool. So those guys do a weekly wrestling show every Thursday night on CFCR local college radio. Is that what you're telling me?
You bet they do, yeah. And they've really been pushing Prairie Pro Wrestling over there, which is our topic for tonight. And they had Marvelous Morris Waltz on. I was on this week. They want to get yourself on, Papa Smokes. They got a whole list of PPW alumni that they want to get on their program. As we say hello to the natural Astrid Pizarro joining us in the house, saying she can't recognize you without that kick-ass mask from last week there, Pop Smokes. Heel Smokes and the mask last week was the talk of the town after your big move to try to steal that Twitch Chat Championship.
Yeah, it wasn't the most well thought out heel turn or cash in. I didn't have anything to cash in, and I wasn't going to be able to win that Twitch title. But you know me, I always want to shake up the boat a little bit. I want to shake things up a bit, just trying to have some fun on that trivia night, and I think we all did.
We all had a blast. It was a good time, of course. In the end, you came back to the OLE side. You defeated me in that final question. You're the OLE champion as of right now, but you're going to be forced.
I don't know about that.
You're going to be forced to defend it, Papa Smokes. You're going to have to put that stuff on the line here coming up on Thursday, December the 19th. I can officially announce it because Mike the Ref, Backbreaker Media, one of the first guys to ever take a chance on us right here, the Video Bros. He is going to be hosting, and ourselves plus a whole slew of wonderful OLE contributors are going to be trying to answer the holiday-themed questions that Mike is going to be writing for us.
Okay, awesome news. This is going to be fun, but I have the feeling Mike's going to put up with even less shenanigans than Fries did. So the Papa Smokes might be in tough for this one. Might be a tough title defense. It's like having a special referee, kind of.
It could be just that, like that. So we'll see how things fare up, but we're happy to be having Mike the Ref on Ring Respect Radio. Surprisingly, for the first time, we've known Mike a long time here, Papa Smokes, and he's a big supporter of the Video Bros back in our early days, back in our bad basement recording days of old. But yes, it's going to be great to have Mike the Ref from Backbreaker joining us here on the program for doing the hosting.
Yeah, very cool. Looking forward to that. And then if anybody synced in or anybody agreed to be players yet, who all do we have signed here?
Well, it sounds like Ed's definitely going to be on board for participating this time. Andre C is definitely on board participating this time. We will see if we have our Honor Ramble returnees at all. The invite was out to them to be coming back and joining us, as the invite is out to everybody in OLE. We'll see how many wish to partake, but definitely a lot of interest there when I put the announcement out in OLE's little conversation piece that we have for the contributors and stuff like that. When I put that out there, a lot of attention put to that. A lot of people want to play the trivia, Papa Smokes. It's back. They're loving it. They're into it again. So I'm stoked. It's a good time.
Fantastic. So just for the sake of fantasization here, how many people could we get on this program playing at once? On everybody having a little video screen here.
Honestly, StreamYard will allow us up to 10 participants, so you would have 10 total. So you would technically have 9 that could compete on screen if we maxed out, because you have to have one for your host. So, but yes, to 10. It would be very, very full across this screen. But yes, let's talk about some other stuff we got coming up here, Papa Smokes. I wanted to mention, because one of the reasons I was asked to come to CFCR to do that interview here this week was because of a little program we've got coming up in a couple of weeks here. That's going to be happening live on location. We're going to be live from it's actually Louie's Loft is where we are going to be partaking this thing from. And I had the chance to talk about this on the radio here. It is going to be live trip through the territories. I'm going to just see if I can do a quick screen share here with you all. Let's see if I can find where I left off here. So here's the advertisement. Of course, over at the university, they are calling this Queering the Ring, a slamming history of diversity in professional wrestling. It is also going to be tied into a trip through the territories, which is the program that we do here. So we are going to be doing the history of professional wrestling, but we are also going to be talking about the changes in diversity across, both the racial diversity as well as LGBTQ plus inclusion and the way it's been treated over the years. That's all going to tie together, and it's got a central reason to tie it together because Neil Richards, the one who donated the wrestling side of this, also donated the largest amount of information and booklets and pamphlets of the LGBTQ community and the growth here in the province of Saskatchewan. So all that ties well together into this hour and a half packed event. It's going to be about 1 hour or so of us presenting, or maybe just over an hour. And then we're going to go to questions from the live audience as well as questions to you here on StreamYard. Here on YouTube and Twitch. It will be available for everybody. If you're in Saskatoon, though, you can see on there, you do need to register for a seat to join us live. That is the QR code. Go ahead, scan that. That will take you to the site. It is free to register. Not going to cost you a thing. They just want to make sure that we have enough seats set out for everybody. So register your name today and join us 7 p.m. on Thursday, November the 21st. And I know Papa Smokes, especially on the history side of things, you've been rocking and rolling with some pretty kick-ass information.
Yeah. I feel like a college student again. I've been back on campus in the library. I know that you and I have had a couple of little sessions looking at some of this archival material, and that's been an absolute gas because there's some great stuff in there. Not everything's that we've looked at has been pertinent to this topic, but I mean, still, it's invaluable wrestling history. So you and I have been having fun. I've been putting some hours in the stacks, reading some books. Of course, I don't have borrowing privileges from there anymore, but I've been reading in the stacks, brushing up on everything, making my notes. Munson, this is going to go well. I swear it's going to go great because I know you've been putting in a lot of time on this too. Let's kick ass on this project. I think it's going to be enlightening. I think it's going to be fun and interactive with live crowd and our usual friends online here. Show up, everybody, and listen to this. Let's have a good time and let's make a little wrestling history ourselves.
You bet. Yeah, it's going to be a great time. And thank you very much to everybody involved over at the University of Saskatchewan, the University Library, who have not only set this whole thing up, but scanned documentation, are working with the AV team there so that we can tie this all together, be able to run this thing live for all our fans around the world, as well as doing this live at Louie's Loft as well, too. So make sure you get registered if you're in the Saskatoon area to come on down and join us in a live capacity. This is the first time, Pop Smokes, that you and I get to do something like this with a live crowd, and I'm very stoked for it. Speaking of people who need to register, it's Basser joining us in the house. Bass, my man, QR code, bro. Scan that QR code. You got to get registered for your free seat at our live show Thursday, November the 21st. Make sure to get registered so you can be there live, joining the video bros. It's going to be a hell of a time, Papa Smokes. Like you said, a lot of work's been put into it, and I'm very proud of what we've got together. And I was mega proud to be able to go down to CFCR and talk about this and talk about how we're going to tie these topics all together into one night. And so much cool shit going on. It's going to be a fun time.
Oh, this is the last half of this calendar year has been very busy for us, Munson. Not only in terms of amounts of projects and stuff we've had to do, but with some of the significance of some of the stuff we're doing, particularly the show at the university, is very exciting to me. I'm looking forward to being analytical and creative at the same time. And you and I have been working on having making sure that all T's are crossed and all I's are dotted for this show. It's going to be a good one, and I'm looking forward to it.
You bet, yeah. And I will make sure before we go to the end of the show here tonight, I will go back to that same poster as well, too, so that everybody can have another chance to scan the QR code if they haven't done so already. So, if you haven't done so, stick around to the end. I will be bringing that back up for everybody so you can get registered. The other thing we have cooking here, Papa Smokes, before we get to our main topic of the day, is the next trip through the territories that follows the live one at the university. Now, it's not 100% set in stone. We're hoping to make this happen. If the stars align and schedules line up, then what we are going to aim for is on Thursday, December the 12th, 1 week before the trivia night. The intent is to have both David Dunn and James from James Shaw. Sorry, Jesus, that's how many beers I've had already. My apology, James. So James Shaw and David Dunn from SPW New Zealand, having them on to do a trip through the territories, New Zealand, so we can find out more about the history of pro wrestling out in their country. I'm really looking forward to hearing what these guys got cooking for us.
Same here, Munson, because this, just like our show at Louis Pub in November, this trip to the territories episode in December is going to be another one that doesn't get talked about all that much in modern media and podcasts and all that. The old history of pro wrestling in a country that doesn't see a lot of visitors and a lot of people, New Zealand, but they've got a rich history. I'm looking forward to diving into this. And of course, we're going to have Mr. Dunn and Mr. Shaw with us. Dunn being a huge living historian and expert on the history of New Zealand wrestling, and then James Shaw, a wrestler currently in the middle of it, making some history in New Zealand wrestling. I couldn't be more excited. This is one where I'm going to really have to start researching from the ground up because I don't have too much background knowledge in this one. Damn well looking forward to it.
I already told them we're going to be leaning heavily on their knowledge for this one, especially kind of thing. So, again, it's going to be a lot of us learning that night on this particular topic, because we're going to sit there and send it over to the people know. It's very much like when we had Ross Hart on or when we had Rachel on, and they can bring that wealth of knowledge to their background in this. And that's what we love doing this whole year of a trip through the territories. That's how we're winding down our first year of a trip through the territories. This is more than we expected it to be when we thought about this whole show in the first place. It has become something completely better in so many ways. It's gone to so many different levels that I'm now excited for 2025 and what we're going to be having on slate. We've talked about other shows, and the thing is these opportunities keep coming in as we keep doing these. The more people keep hearing about what we're doing and seeing what we're doing, the more interest becomes in having different guests and different territories and different areas talked about. I wouldn't be surprised if every plan we've thought of so far for 2025 could completely shift into something else before we know it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. And I'm just like you. I'm so thrilled that this project is taken off too. I wasn't completely sure how much that the fans would take to this, or how many people wanted to go back and look at this stuff, but it turns out that it's quite a few by the sound of it. We've had fun doing it. It sounds like YouTube listeners have been enjoying it in pretty good numbers, so let's keep it going. And again, I knew that you and I would be making these studies, but I never really dreamed that we'd have guests that wanted to be on and guests that have legitimate historical knowledge that we can learn from. This is great, man. And if we keep going, keep the momentum going, the sky's the limit, Munson. And I'm looking forward to the next year. We can just keep it going, keep it expanding upward and onward.
You bet. And the two of us have got other big plans we've talked about, ideas we've tossed around that maybe they'll come to fruition eventually here soon too. It will have all sorts of crazy, exciting things. I mean, it's weird to think we are that close to the end of the year, Papa Spokes. It's a great thing because, again, we might get a little breather there around the holidays and stuff like that. Chance to recoup the energy, drink a few extra of these, have some good food and everything. But before we get to that holiday season, we've got one more stop in Prairie Pro Wrestling. And I could say it now. On Saturday, December the 7th, join us live as PPW presents our annual Seasons Beatings. Yes, Seasons Beatings coming at you. We are about 80% sold out of the seated tickets already. There is a limited number of seated tickets remaining for Prairie Pro Wrestling Seasons Beatings. So if you want to get in on those, make sure to message us on social media to secure your seat to season beating. I know there's been a couple more that have come through recently, so they're going quick. General admission tickets, I'm not sure if they're at the vendors just yet, but Bass, I know you're listening in. As soon as you see a post from Doyle or Glitch Gifts, get your ass over there because there is a lot of interest in people coming down for December the 7th. And I'm telling you, I swear people are throwing damn Christmas parties here, Papa Smokes. We've got some people who purchased blocks of 10 tickets. There's groups of 10 coming to the seated area of Prairie Pro Wrestling this time around.
Hey, the more the merrier. And what I really love to see is some of our regulars bring their friends who haven't been before. And you know that there's one thing we love at PPW Wrestling. It's first timers, either people that are coming to Prairie Pro Wrestling for the first time, or even better yet, seeing their first live wrestling show or their first non-large company arena show, their first intimate, small, independent local show, which is, of course, vastly different than a big company arena show. Oh, come and check it out. I've brought many first-timers in my years coming to the matches here. Many have stayed on as fans. Some haven't, but to check it out for the first time, it can be more than you imagined that it would be, and just more fun in general.
You bet. Bass is asking how much the QR code seats are again. Bass, they are $30 a ticket. $30 a ticket guarantees you a seat into the show. Like I said, if you want to get in on those, get in on them quick because there isn't very many left. So secure your spot today. $15 general admission as usual for pre-purchase tickets at Glitch Gifts and at Hunter's Bowling Centers here in Saskatoon. And then if you happen to get one of the very few remaining spots at the door, those spots are $20 when you get to the door. Daniel asking, what do we have to do to get Luigi Primo Power to come to Saskatoon? Dan, I that is a very good question. I'm not sure. I don't know if I have the contact information or know what the costs are to make that kind of magic happen. But if you know where to reach me.
Hey, didn't we just have Mario and Luigi in the Battle Royal at Halloween there?
We did, which is, again, it's available now on YouTube. The Halloween costume Battle Royal, now available on Prairie Pro Wrestling's YouTube channel. And that's what we're here to talk about is Prairie Pro Wrestling's Ring of Horrors here tonight. We're going to go through the card, talk a little bit about it, and let everybody know. But let's start there because that's all. The cat's already out of the bag. It's already available to the masses and doing some decent numbers over on YouTube for us. The Halloween costume Battle Royal had a twist this year, Papa Smokes, that the winning wrestler, whatever gimmick they were dressed as, didn't matter. Whatever wrestler won the Battle Royal is guaranteed a Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship opportunity. Very interesting. Strip away the whole costume portion of this. The victor, Michael Allen Richard Clark, very much a big name to be going after the Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship. Sheik Akbar Shabazz has got to be a little bit nervous at this point.
Well, and I think Sheik's kind of kicking himself. He should have worked a little harder in that Battle Royal to get some of those competitors out of there because now he's got one of the toughest, if not the toughest, challenge to his title right now in Michael Allen Richard Clark, a guy that's been wanting those opportunities, a guy that's been looked at by the fans as the heir apparent to the PPW title for sure. He's a top guy in Saskatoon. He has been for a long time. He's a huge fan favorite, and I know that PPW Nation wants to see push-ups in a world title match. They want to see the Sheik get confronted by Michael Allen Richard Clark, and that's exactly what we're going to get. Clark, as The Undertaker, came into that Battle Royal, and, I mean, it was somewhat a fun event for the fans and somewhat some fun going on in this match, but Clark came in as The Undertaker with a serious purpose. Of course, he was having the demeanor of The Undertaker, which is quite stoic and all that, but he eliminated quite a few guys from that Battle Royal, and you could see that there was that determination to win, and by God, that's exactly what Clark did. And look at that. He's put himself in a nice, juicy position as the number one contender, and the next guy to get to step in the ring with Sheik Akbar Shabazz, get a chance at that beautiful green and gold belt. Ooh, man, the fans are gonna love this matchup.
Yes, it's gonna be a hot matchup for sure. BDJ's up in the house. What
Yeah.
up, BDJ? How you doing, brother? Glad to see you here. Bastard saying, hear me out. Mark wins the belt, gets attacked by a returning heel, Colton Kelly. I have my serious doubts, Bass, but it's an interesting thought. I don't know. We haven't heard from Colton Kelly as of late, so who knows on that front. But Mark, very much a contender for that championship, somebody who could potentially be a threat to the second reign of Sheik Akbar Shabazz. So again, that match, I'm presuming, in fact, I'm pretty sure they said it's at Season's Meeting. So I don't have the 100% confirmation, but I'm 99.9% confirmed that matchup is taking place at Season's Meeting. So if you want to check it out, you're going to have to be there live. Mark can only win if he brings back his poodle hair. I mean, he's got some time to grow it out. It's entirely possible. So we might get there before December the 7th. We haven't seen him since Halloween, so we'll find out, BDJ. It's coming up soon enough. But getting past the Battle Royal, let's talk about the night in general that was had there. Pop Smokes, talk about the matchups that we had. Started that night off. We just got done calling the first couple of matchups here earlier this evening. We started off Riley Cruz in a match against Real Talk Dean Richter, making his singles debut in Prairie Pro Wrestling. We saw him as one half of the tag team, the Loose Connection, there recently. But one-on-one action against Riley Cruz. And man, Dean Richter put on a display in this one. Despite Riley picking up a victory, Dean looked all kinds of good throughout 98% of this entire matchup.
For sure. And for a night that was, I mean, you want to talk about the night in general. This night at Cosmo Hall was just electric. I mean, so many people coming in, and you could feel the buzz, and everybody who's anybody amongst the PPW Nation was there in costume, with their seat, with their standing spot, with their beers and their White Claws and all the rest of it. It was wild in there and so completely packed. But to this match that you're talking about, Riley Cruz versus Richter, wow, what a good opening match. And this was interesting because we talked about it in commentary, but Cruz wants to keep that upward momentum going. He's got a buzz going in PPW. The fans like him. The fans have taken to him, and they like that heavy metal high energy. But when you bring Dean Richter into the ring, this is a guy that's extremely strong. He's got a low center of gravity. He's got a whole bunch of strength in that body, and he's one of the newest, I won't say members of the roster quite yet, but one of the newest wrestlers to appear at PPW. He's trying to make an impression. There's no second chance to make a first impression. So he's coming in strong and with a seemingly a kind of relaxed focus in this match. And it was a clash of styles, which led to a really, really good match. Cruz looking awesome in this, but Richter, nothing to look past either. I think he's got a future in PPW as well. And wow, what a match. Both of them looking for a handhold on the way up the ladder to getting a championship shot.
You bet. And then up after that, Riley picked up that win. Next match up, we had a returning Rocket Shoe Tony Novak for the first time in over a year with Prairie Pro Wrestling, taking on Wrestling's Smartest Man, Bucky McGraw. And Bucky got himself in some trouble here, Papa Smokes. And this match was controlled by Tony, who had an answer to everything Bucky tried to throw at him throughout the entire night. Tony was a matter of seconds away from picking up a victory before the Damn Brotherhood intervened in this one, creating a disqualification. But what a night. Tony coming back, comes out with all sorts of fire, knew that he wanted to pick up a big W, and he looked better than ever here tonight.
Yeah, he really, really did. And we got to remember, it's been months. It's been the better part of a year, probably, since we've seen Rocket choose Novak in action in the ring. And not only was the PPW Nation and myself surprised to see him back in that match at Ring of Horrors, but absolutely no signs of rust, no signs of being out of shape cardio wise or anything like that. Novak came in using that blazing speed and aerial skills as he always did. And he just didn't let Bucky McGraw get his feet underneath him at all. He gave Bucky a butt kicking, is what he did in that match. McGraw, known for stringing together series of moves and much to great effect offensively, was unable to get much going in this match whatsoever. Novak laying a beating on Bucky McGraw, really sending a message to the Brotherhood that he is not putting up with them there. He's going to look past them on his way up to the championship scene again, which, as we know, Munson, Novak was buzzing around Sheikh Akbar Shabazz with a couple of extremely close title matches. He wants to get back in there. He wants to forget the time off that he had and get right back in there, get back some of the ground that he lost, and get back into the title picture.
He sure does. BDJ saying Novak, the only wrestler who didn't lose out in the original tournament for the PPW championship. I can trump that, actually. That is not the case. He is not the only one. Jacob Creed was in the original tournament and did not get beaten out. He ended up out because of back injury. Michael Allen Richard Clark fell to injury before being eliminated from that tournament as well, too. So, yes, those two as well. Actually, you know what? Bucky McGraw, for that matter. Bucky did not get beat out in that tournament. Bucky actually fell to an illness, which allowed the opening spots that we had that got both Sheikh Akbar Shabazz and Cannonball Kelly back into the tournament and then to the finals.
Yeah, that tournament was doomed by COVID from the outset. We never really did get to, finish that. Started it, but as they say, the business stuff happens, and we had nearly a year-long break with the whole COVID lockdown, and they weren't going to let us do shows. Of course, up here in Canada, it was much more restrictive in terms of gathering people for live shows and such. It was an extreme drag.
Yeah. So we didn't get that opportunity as quickly as we wanted to, but eventually we got back to it and we made the most of it, and we've done good since. Speaking of doing good, next matchup, we had Marvelous Morris Waltz, fresh off his victory over Cannonball Kelly, in action against Tommy Gallivan. And I got to ask you this, Papa Smokes, did your boy Marvelous Morris Waltz get a little bit too big for his britches after that big victory, because he got caught off guard in this particular matchup and ended up eating a loss to Tommy Gallivan?
Oh, much to my surprise and much to my chagrin, Munson, he did take the pinfall loss in this match. It's a setback, but it's nothing that Marvelous Morris Waltz can't vault over in the future. I'm going to chalk some of this up to inexperience and just maybe a different placed enthusiasm, whereas he should have really been locking down this match and really putting the gears to Tommy Gallivan and securing that 3 count. He was maybe a little distracted in this match, and you can't do that against an upstart like Tommy Gallivan, who's got all kinds of energy and all kinds of fight and heart in him. And he's got the fans behind him as well. The PPW likes Tommy Gallivan a whole bunch, and I think they raised him up in this match. Yeah, it's a setback. It's an obstacle. Waltz isn't going to be happy about that, but you know that he's going to be back, and he's going to be more marvelous than ever.
Marvelous. Speaking of marvelous, it's our boy Bobby Stats in the house coming in saying hello, guys. Former MLW wrestler Zeta Steel got signed by the new WWE ID program. where they're going around and taking all the territory wrestlers or the indie wrestlers and stamping their WWE IDs on them as fast tracking them towards opportunities with the World Wrestling Entertainment. Good for Zeta Steel. We could always see that the hard work was there with her. She was always growing, getting better with each and every time. And I'm happy for her. I think it's a good trajectory for her career.
Sure, that's awesome. But of course, you see that Vince has never completely gone from the WWE, is he? There's still some of his blueprints, still some of his predatory business practices. Will always be. You can call it what you want, but they're going to cherry pick the living hell out of the best indie companies, take all their best guys, and say, "Well, keep going, guys. You got a few more that you can develop for us. We'll take them too."
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. I knew it as soon as I heard the announcement. I mean, it's good for the people who are going to get those opportunities and they're going to get that chance to get paid and do what they want to do again. But I can see what you're saying. This is very much the going around the territories and, cleaning them out of all the top talent. Diane says hello too. Hello to Diane. Thank you for saying hello as well too. We appreciate you. Appreciate you having our good friend Bobby Stats there in the chat every week
Bobby
with us
Stats.
as well too. But yes, it's it comes with its good and bad with a lot of things in pro wrestling. It's good for many, might not be great for every promotion out there kind of thing, because it might hurt them in terms of the talent pool that they have. But maybe that working relationship will do them favors this time around, because how many of those talents can be sent back, or talents that have now got a little bit more outreach and stuff like that. So now you put that ID stamp on a Zeta Steel and she goes and takes a booking. Well, you might have more eyes on your product as well too at the same time, because they've gone and stamped the WWE branding across these particular wrestlers. It interests me. I'm curious to see how it goes. And again, congratulations to Zeta and everybody else who's getting in on the program as it works in their favor. Right now, nothing happening at PPW. They ain't stealing any of our top talents. And speaking of top talents, the next match we had up on this card, we had Uncle Phil Deadly back in action one-on-one against All Night Levi Knight. And Phil Deadly, just as energetic as always, comes out there, rocks the crowd, and picks up the big dub. Our boy Phil Deadly getting that big victory in this one. Great job by both guys again, and great to see Phil back after he took a little bit of a knocking at the last show there, Pop Smoke. Glad he recovered well and that he's doing better and he's back in action.
Oh, for sure. And Phil didn't miss a step. He's a pro, and just getting some sore spots and getting an injury or two is part of the business when with those in-ring worker guys such as Phil and Levi Knight. Good to see him back. He never missed a step. Boy, the fans like him in Saskatoon, and I can see why. Excellent guy, excellent wrestler. Isn't his theme music so cool? And I'm pretty sure that's one of his compositions as well. It pumps me up every time I hear it, and same with the PPW crowd. And think of this match. Phil's an excellent wrestler. He's a veteran of the Saskatchewan scene and of PPW, but Levi Knight has been a very strong force in PPW since he's been here the last 2 years or so. And that's actually a tough match for anybody. Levi Knight comes across as sometimes not so serious in his matches, but it's all psychological warfare, I think, and all that disco dancing and all the mockery of his opponent and all that stuff. But don't forget that Levi Knight's a gifted wrestler. He's a big, tall guy. He's very strong, and he's had a lot of good training. He's got a great move set, and he's very skilled between the ropes there. So this was not an easy match for Phil. And I think when the PPW management sit down to look at the results of the matches and of the seeding of the championship picture and all that win for Uncle Phil Deadly is going to be a choice one in terms of his ranking.
Yeah, 100% it's going to be. And so after that, we go back to more one-on-one action here on this card. We had Lumberjack Larry Woods returning to PPW action as he took on Barak Garani, the son of Kosovo. great matchup here with these two individuals. Good to see Lumberjack Larry back. The fans knew who he was this time around more than last time. So a lot of the PPW Nation really behind Lumberjack Larry Woods. Exciting one-on-one encounter between these two. But in the end, Barack Arani, who's been really doing very well for himself as of late in Prairie Pro Wrestling, picking up a much-deserved victory. I liked this match a hell of a lot, Papa Smokes, and Barat has been looking more and more dangerous with each and every match for us.
Oh, very much so. And just to bring up Lumberjack Larry for a bit, good wrestler, good, popular with the crowd. He's an excellent hero for the crowd to get behind. But once again, in tough here against Bharat Garani, who, again, Garani has had so many excellent matches in PPW and is one of our top talents without question. He has yet to make that one moment, to get that one decisive win, to get that really big win that gets him over in this company in terms of looking towards championship match someday. And the son of Kosovo continues to just have excellent match after excellent match, setting up for the Kosovo kick, some of those other brutal martial arts kicks he's got from Eastern Europe there. And oh my God, Bharat Garani just continues to impress every single time. And this is another guy that's just knocking on the door there. He's so close to where he wants to get, but he needs that one decisive big match that's going to put him over the top.
Yeah. And he's building to it, Papa Smokes. He's getting his way there.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this win is another step in that direction. I'm sure we're going to see more of him over at PPW Presents Seasons Beatings on December the 7th.
Oh, yeah.
Who we are going to see, and of course we talked about him earlier in the night because it sounds like he may just be defending that belt against Michael Allen Richard Clark at Seasons Beatings. It's the champion Sheik Akbar Shabazz, who was in one of the, I hate to say it, what was it? 4 main events that we said. 4 I hate that. I hate that so much. I love everything about PPW, but just in case anyone's listening, 4 main events, get over yourselves. I don't even like when people say double main events. You got a main event. You have 3 other big matches. You have a main event, in my opinion. That's how it should work. Maybe that's just me, Pop Smokes. I'm not a fan of calling every match a main event on a card. We put on great shit. Like, don't get me wrong. Every match, in my opinion, could be a main event because that's how good our talent roster is. But at the end of the night, there's one main event.
I hear you. If you have more than one main event, then you don't have any main events, right? There's the whole idea is that there's one, but just to, I don't know, just to kind of get the crowd going a little bit, to show that we had star-studded card with 2 title matches and 2 other matches of significance. Yeah, 4 main events, but I'll always consider the heavyweight championship match of any card the main event.
Yeah, you bet. And that one came just before the intermission. It was Sheik Akbar Shabazz defending against T.Y. Jackson, who T.Y. Jackson, we've said it before, we like T.Y. a whole lot. We've seen some great work from T.Y. Hasn't really adhered to the PPW Nation, but again, stick him in one-on-one competition against Sheik Akbar Shabazz, and suddenly the nation loves them some T.Y. Jackson. There was a lot of the old touching of the tips there from some of the PPW Nation as T.Y. Jackson came down to the ring for this championship opportunity, and he put on one hell of a fight against the champion. This was a fresh title match we have not seen before from Sheik at all. This was a great fight between these two. I like this match a hell of a lot, Pop Smokes. I'm looking forward to when we get to call it. T.Y. did great against the champ, and I think that I want to see T.Y. become a regular member of the PPW roster as much as possible. And I think that if he continues to go the direction he's going, T.Y. Jackson is somebody I can see not just in that title picture, but one day possibly being the guy for PPW.
Wow, I like the way you think, Munson. Thinking big already, but T.Y. Jackson made a huge impact in this match and in a couple of the other matches he's had for PPW. The fans aren't quite used to him yet. He's only had a few matches here. You remember years ago he had a couple matches for a different company here. So fans have seen him before, but this is a guy that's come along well. This is a guy that works hard at his craft all the time. You can see that. And he's very slick in the ring. He's got an awesome set of moves. He's very skilled as a wrestler, and he's got some charisma as well, right? And he just seems to have that. He looks comfortable in everything he does. So you can tell that's a guy that's practiced and practiced and practiced and trained in professional wrestling to perfect this. And when you might say that, well, we haven't seen him enough to put him in a championship match against the Sheik. Well, he overachieved in that. The Sheik was barely holding on in that match a number of times. Excuse me. So TY has to have impressed the championship committee and the people that run PPW, because what a great showing in that match. He's proved that he can hang in that title scene. So, I mean, next time his name comes up, they might think, yeah, we got a good match here against any champion. We can throw TY in there, and he does a good job. So he keeps his nose to the grindstone in PPW and keeps churning out a few wins. We might just see what you predicted there, Munson. We might just see TY get to where he wants to go in PPW.
You bet. And again, not everything happens overnight, but the more that we keep seeing some of these names consistently there, and again, going in strong against the Sheik woke up the PPW Nation to TY Jackson. It woke up the locker room to TY Jackson on this night. Again, at times, I think the fans going into it thought, we've seen it over and over again. Sheik manages to find a way. But there was a couple of moments where TY put that doubt over across the entire nation and made them think, my God, this guy might just pull it off and become our new champion. So kudos to both those guys in that great bout. That was the championship bout right before we went to a much-deserved break on this very long card. We had a very, very long card. And they told us that up next, Papa Smokes, was going to be the first ever PPW tables, ladders, and chairs match. El Assassino versus Michael Allen Richard Clark. We knew it was chaos in that chairs match from last year. This thing is all kinds of effed up, Papa Smokes. This was a fight of fights, this one. I'm telling you. In fact, so much so that I'm going to let you talk about it for a moment here. I'm going to find the edited video and show a few clips here from this particular matchup.
Oh, hell yeah. Please do, Munson. That's great. And, okay, we've all seen, if you've been watching the PPW YouTube channel, or if you've been going to the shows in person, you've seen the lead up to this. Even it goes further back than that to even before PPW, when the company was running before that, High Impact Wrestling. These two didn't like each other back then. They really didn't like each other, and they never have since then. They had a huge no disqualification weapons match in 2017 or 18 that nearly tore down the venue in Regina when they had it at the Spring Meltdown. Fans and wrestlers talked about that match for months afterwards because it was so insane and so brutal. And that may have solved the immediate hatred and the immediate kind of problems that those two had together at that time. But as you can see, the rivalry and the hatred has continued ever since then. And it's only flared up like a match to gunpowder since they've met in PPW now. It's resulted in El Assassino interfering in a whole bunch of Michael Allen Richard Clark's matches, really savaging him with chair a few times. And it was almost inevitable that they were going to have to solve this, not just within the four ropes, but within some kind of match that would allow for these two to let loose with their most primal urges to destroy each other. That's exactly what we got here. Okay, you got a clip. Can we watch some of this?
Yeah, we're going to, this one in particular involves the one spot that didn't involve a table, a ladder, or a chair, but very much got creative in terms of using the furniture available to them. Here was the spot after El Asesino had dragged the rampway where the wrestlers come out. He dragged the entire wooden rampway down and set it to the bottom of the apron. Here we go. We see the setup now here. This is where it gets really, really ugly. You see that look of Michael Allen's face, this opportunity for more chaos in this matchup, setting up for the springboard suplex. And you were right there, Papa Smokes, as we see it. Holy, like, no.
Munson, I was hiding for my life while I just filmed that. It looks like I'm a safe distance away. I am not. I'm right next to this. This is right on top of me. What an insane moment. I was fearing for my life. Just like you said, Alan Clark takes that look back and you just see the wild, savage animal in his eyes. He saw that and he just wanted to do damage and pain to El Asesino. Holy mother, was that crazy.
It was insane. And I want to show you the spot where I was up close and personal with this one in particular, as Michael Allen goes flying off the top through that table and smacked right into that side guardrail down by the audience. It was nuts, Papa Smokes. There was wood chips flying everywhere. I was starting to fear for my life at this point. I'm like, there was nowhere to walk. I mean, I'm wearing that damn Terror Lord Terrifier mask. And I'm like, you know, there's only so much visibility as it is. So I'm using my feet to kind of press down to make sure, like, okay, all right, we still got padding. Oh, wooden table, padding. Oh, steel chair. Like, there was chairs and pieces of wood and damaged furniture and little screws from all this furniture all over the damn place. It was a war zone.
Absolutely. And we always joke about being cameramen on here. This Ring of Horrors is always my nightmare as a cameraman for exactly these reasons. I love doing it. It's a rush. It's a tremendous adrenaline rush, and it's something I've grown to enjoy. But the stress of working this show with all the madness that went on, this was the craziest part of the whole thing by far. I didn't know if I was going to live or die during some of those moments.
Well, speaking of us being in direct danger, there was the one spot, too, where that ladder's propped up into the corner of the ring and it comes crashing down to the outside. Just about cracks poor Rachel across the head in the process there, too. Like, I was, you know, I'm over on the other side of the ring. I'm like, Jesus Christ, someone stop that ladder. Like, that thing's coming straight down on Rachel. We can't have that shit happening or whatever. But, man, chaotic match throughout. And yet, El Asesino, this is his playground at this point, Papa Smokes. This is 2 years in a row where he drags opponents into these gimmick matchups, these absolute war games of sorts, and he takes them to task, and he has picked up the win 2 years back-to-back now.
Well, and fans will see this on PPW YouTube channel. Everybody subscribe and hit like on all the videos on there for sure, but you will see this. But again, El Asesino, he worked the match perfectly. He wasn't in control for the whole thing. Like, nobody's going to be in any wrestling match. But at the end, when they had both gone deep into this match, they were both, bodies must have been hurting tremendously. Both climbing to the top of not only that 6-foot step ladder, but of course, Asesino, the sadist, pulled it out. It was a retractable ladder, so it went up to 10 feet or whatever. They climbed to the very top. Their heads were almost hitting the ceiling and the lights. And I'm not going to get into the whole ending of it, but Asesino ending up on top of this one by hook or by crook, as I like to say, ending up in a pinfall position. Not sure if he knew where he was at the time, but it's not just luck. He positioned himself perfectly at the end there to literally come out on top in this match. And Michael Allen Clark has to be swearing to himself ever since that match, thinking, damn it, I had him where I wanted him so many times, and still the Mexican Devil will find a way to come out on top. And wow, insane match. What do you think, Munson? Is this going to finish the feud?
You know what? I don't think anything is ever going to finish the feud between these two individuals ever, Pop Smokes. Like, as long
I
as
agree.
these two have a breath in their body and they have, a company that will allow them in the same locker room at the same time, I think that they will have a reason to fight each other. They will never shake hands. They will never be friends. They will never even have mutual respect for each other. This is a pure hatred situation, and I think any opportunity either one of them gets to take a shot at the other one, they're going to keep taking it. They don't care. They will continue to poke the bear until one of them or both of them are no longer capable of standing under their own power.
I fully agree with that, Munson. And it's like what Dusty Rhodes said about Ole Anderson. It will never be over.
This is true. But you know what? Our show will have to eventually be over sooner and rather than later. But before that, we got one more match to talk about, Papa folks. We've got that big tag title match. And this is one of those cases where I feel like, you say the heavyweight championship usually is the main event. I would say in this case, this was the main event for us, the first ever crowning of the tag team championships, the big story going on, the triple threat, the clandestine society, the Short Kings, and the Brotherhood going up for the tag titles for the very first time. An historical event in Saskatoon, because to your recollection, can you recall the last time that a new set of tag team champions was crowned here in Saskatoon?
That's one heck of a question, Munson, and no, I can't. And if that has ever happened, it's been quite a long time. It's probably been more than a dozen years, maybe, or I'm just kind of spitballing right now. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate, but it's been a long time. There's only been a handful of companies that have run in Saskatoon over these past, let's say the past 20 years. So what a historical occurrence here. And a cage match, you better update it. And Mr. Beefy Goodness, Vance, Nevada, better update that for your next book too, because we got new champs in the history books.
We do. And again, I can actually, one thing I can confirm is the last time, at least to my knowledge, that a tag title even changed hands here in Saskatoon would have been in our HIW days when I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, Team Flex Appeal that beat the Western Lions in that Fans Bring the Weapons matchup.
On Devil's Night. You might be right about that.
Yeah. And we're talking like 2018 at that point, Papa Smokes. That was about October of 2018 when that one occurred.
Yeah, you make a good point there too. And I know we saw a few title defenses of Death by Chocolate as well. Kid Chocolate and Phil Deadly were HIW tag team champions. I know they had a few defenses here, but even with that, it's been a while since we crowned new tag team champions in this province. Those brand new, beautiful belts. Oh, what a moment it was, and what a long lead up to it, too. I know the fans were itching to see who was going to take those straps in that match.
You bet. And while the Brotherhood did a great job of controlling most of the matchup, keeping opponents kind of over to their particular corner and cutting off that ring very, very well for, it's not, I guess, not technically a triple A, it's a triple threat or a three-way dance. I don't know the true calling for it, but anyway, you had to tag in somebody else. It was only ever two guys in the ring at a time, not one of these tornado tag situations or anything of the sort, even though things boiled over into complete chaos at times, as you would expect they would. But in the end, the one standing tall and crowned the very first and new Prairie Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions of the world, our good friends, the Short Kings. Yeah, the Short Kings, the Thickness Reed Matthews and Mars the Specialist, holding those belts up in a very magical moment for Prairie Pro Wrestling. What a match, what a night, what a great moment for the Short Kings.
And for us wrestling guys, what a beautiful moment too. Just just like when the heavyweight championship was first handed out, these belts going to the first winners, and it being our buddies, the Short Kings. Of course, I like all the tag teams involved in this, but something special for Mars the Specialist and the Thickness Reed Matthews after the hell they went through in a few of the matches leading up to this, and then in this match, ooh, Mars the Specialist absorbed some punishment in this match, and which was a good thing because Reed Matthews had that leg injury, looked like he was perfectly good and perfectly willing to go for that whole match, but it remained just a little bit of a question mark during that match. So Mars carried some of that match, a good portion of it on his back, and he absorbed some terrible punishment, not only from the Brotherhood, but also the Clandestine Society, who, when they get an opponent in their corner, will lay some licks on them too, and they did. But the Short Kings coming out very, very proud of the guys, very, very well-deserved title win, and they make a fine set of champions for PPW.
They do, and I'm curious to see what's going to be next for them because they're going to be here at December 7th at Seasons Beatings. We're going to want to hear from the new tag champs. Will they have their very first title defense? Will they successfully defend said titles on their very first title defense? It's yet to be seen, and one of many reasons why you need to be joining us in a live capacity Saturday, December the 7th for Seasons Beatings. Like I said, seats are getting close to sold out. You want to get a seat, make sure to reach out to us at Prairie Pro Wrestling on social media. But we're going to come to an end here on the program, Papa Smokes, because even though we're on early and we could run a little overtime, we're gonna make some way, let everybody, go grab a few more beers, get primed, get ready, and then they're gonna join our good friends Auntie Collins and Kimmy Sokol over at the Honor Ramble later for that infectious laughter that they bring each and every Thursday night right here on the channel. But in the meantime and in between time, let's rack up the cost of the show and put that most expensive ticker up there. Papa Smokes, what do you got going on?
Let's do it, Munson. This is always one of my favorite times in the podcast because I get to tell you all that I'm available for contact on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as X. I am at smokes_papa, and I'm also on Twitch, not the champion of Twitch trivia, but I am on Twitch at papa_smokes_.
That's right. He's not the Twitch champ, but he is the OLE champion. He's going to have to defend that December the 19th. It might have been a tainted victory, but you could prove yourself in the title defense there, Papa Smokes. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'll take some proving, I think.
It might. As for myself, over the X, it's Real Bobby Munson. On Instagram and Threads, it's Video Bros SK. Twitch, it's Video Bro_Bobby Munson. I am going to be on this Sunday once again. Mark Robson, Andre C., Ed Fries. We're going to be rocking you some NFL predictions for the week. See where the jump is at. It seems like Mark is pulled again into a slight lead after Ed and I pulled even with him last week. So we'll see where those final tallies are at and see if this week we can gain some more grounds and maybe make Mark sweat it out just a little bit. But it is your Sunday sports stream on Point of View, 11 a.m. Eastern time for all of you. So make sure to check us out there. As always, Prairie Pro Wrestling on a Saturday afternoon. That, check us out on Prairie Pro Wrestling. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet, but I might do some sort of review or watch of the MLW Apocalyptica, whatever thing. They've decided to put their shows are back free on YouTube. They've gone back to the free model. Everything is going to be available on YouTube once again. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and try to give them a shot again here sometime soon. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be watching live or if I'm going to watch the next day and do something with it, but we'll get to there. And then I can tell you now ahead of time, next Friday night, after the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight right here on the channel, you can join definitely myself, potentially Andre C. joining me. We're going to be giving you the play-by-play review of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul that is live coming up on Netflix. But if you didn't catch it earlier in the show, Papa Smokes and I have got some really cool shit going on, and I'm going to bring it up one more time for the purpose of the QR code. If you need to scan that QR code right there to get yourself registered for a seat at our live trip through the territories in conjunction with the University of Saskatchewan. We're going to be live at Louis' Loft there, also broadcasting live here on the channel. You can watch that on all the channels here across OLE and the Video Bros Network as per usual. But if you are in Saskatoon and want to join us in that live capacity, scan that QR code. Get yourself registered today for us doing the trip through the territories, talking all about the history of professional wrestling in Saskatchewan, and also about the changes in diversity as well, too, which we found great documentation that leads into all of that. As always, like we said, we're broadcasting OLE podcast. Check us out over on X, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And make sure that over on YouTube, if you're watching on replay, leave us a comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. And check out all the great content that we've got from great contributors from all across the globe, like the very wonderful honorable guest that you're going to be seeing tonight later on, 10:15 p.m. on the East Coast. But that's going to be it for myself, Papa Smokes, this week. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Ring Respect Radio, and we'll see you next Thursday night. Take care, everybody.